An inquest gets underway into a 2012 construction site fatality. The province pledges more money for local seniors' services. And the annual Christmas cheer effort comes to a close.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Well, today marked the start of the inquest into the death of a 31-year-old Thunder Bay man.
Lee Antoniak died while working on a construction site at the Thunder Bay Country Club in April of last year. The inquest was called to examine the circumstances surrounding his death so that a jury might make recommendations that would help prevent similar tragedies. Courtney Rutherford reports.
It was April 9th, 2012, and Lee Antoniak was working at the Thunder Bay Country Club construction site. Around 1:30 p.m., Antoniak was hit by a 30-ton dump truck that was backing up. He was taken to the regional hospital where he died of his injuries. Presiding coroner David Lege says the cause of death was a fracture to the right and left pelvis and blunt force trauma. One of the first paramedics to arrive on the scene was Jeff Muniz. The first thing he saw was Antoniak laying face down. He called out for a verbal response and looked to see if he was conscious or breathing. He wasn't showing any vital signs and they placed him onto a spinal board. They continued to perform CPR while driving him to the hospital. Muniz felt there was no hope of survival for Antoniak and he died soon after in hospital. At the time, Antoniak was working for LTL Contracting. He completed a 2-day supervisor training course and a surface miner training course prior to taking on the job. The lead investigator from the Ministry of Labour said he was very respected by his boss and his fellow employees. A total of 15 witnesses will take to the stand and the inquest is expected to wrap up on Thursday. The jury was told that no one is on trial. However, the purpose of the inquest is to determine facts surrounding what happened. Courtney Rutherford, TBT News.
The Ministry of Labour has issued numerous stop work orders against a recycling and demolition company after an accident involving a worker yesterday. The incident occurred at about 2 o'clock at the former Smurfit Stone cardboard plant on Strathcona Avenue. Reports from the scene indicated a 45-year-old man was throwing debris down a hole when his glove got caught on a piece of material and he fell down the hole to the ground below. Paramedics said the man suffered a head injury, but no update on his condition is available. The Ministry of Labour has issued 12 orders against Global Recycling and Demolition. The company must provide fall protection equipment and training to its employees and set up enclosures around all openings when falls may occur. The stop work orders will not be lifted until the changes are put in place.
Ontario Provincial Police have released the name of the victim in yesterday's fatal collision near Atikokan. The incident happened around 1 in the afternoon on Highway 11, just east of the intersection with Highway 633, when a car came into collision with a fuel truck. Police say an occupant in the car, 76-year-old Frederick James Monroe of Atikokan, was pronounced dead at the scene. A 71-year-old female who was in the same vehicle remains at Thunder Bay's Health Sciences Centre in serious condition. The 49-year-old Thunder Bay man driving the fuel truck was not injured. The cause of the crash remains under investigation. The incident disrupted traffic along that section of the highway for over 12 hours.
Thunder Bay man charged with murder 2 years ago walked out of the Superior Court of Justice a free man today. 24-year-old Kyle Ray was arrested after an incident in October of 2011 at a townhouse off Limbrick Street. His friend, 21-year-old Jimmy Muniz, was punched during a drunken altercation and fell down a flight of stairs. He suffered a serious head injury and later died in hospital. Ray was charged with second-degree murder, and his case was scheduled to go to trial in May of next year. But 2 weeks ago, he pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of criminal negligence causing death. And today, Justice Doug Shaw agreed with a joint submission from the Crown and Defence to release Ray based on time already served. He spent more than 2 years in custody. His lawyer says that length of jail time is within the acceptable range for the crime.
This was not a murder, and this was not a manslaughter. This was a case in which Kyle, who has apologized for what happened and who's been forgiven by the family of the deceased, has taken responsibility for the harm that he caused and who has admitted today that he was criminally negligent in causing Jimmy Muniz's death. What happened today is that justice was done according to the law. And what we can hope for Kyle and for his community is that in accordance with their tradition, they'll be able to heal from this tragedy.
Ray was also sentenced to 3 years probation. He's planning to live at a relative's home on a reserve near Fort Frances till a space opens up for him at the John Howard Society in Thunder Bay. Muniz and Ray are from Sandy Lake First Nation. Representatives from that community asked the court to not allow Ray to go back to his home reserve until he's completed rehabilitation programs. The judge allowed for a 3-month ban to give the Sandy Lake chief and council enough time to enact their own banishment order if they choose to do so.
Officials with Superior North EMS have confirmed they are not planning to establish a temporary ambulance base on the Fort William First Nation. Since the James Street Swing Bridge fire cut off the primary route to the First Nation on October 29th, emergency services have been accessing the reserve via Highway 61. That's increased response times by between 5 and 6 minutes. Superior North EMS Chief Norm Gale points out that less than 5% of the calls they respond to in that community are classified as being time sensitive.
We have no information that gives us cause for concern that there's been adverse outcomes to patients at this time. We monitor it, we're looking at it, and we're adjusting as we need to. And I can assure everyone that every 911 call where a request for EMS is made is answered by EMS.
Discussions between the First Nation and EMS are ongoing, and Gale says they will continue to monitor developments. Fort William Chief Georgianne Morrisseau was not available for comment today.
Millions of dollars in new funding was announced today in an effort to reduce unnecessary emergency room and hospital readmissions. The province is investing an additional $4.4 million into the local health integration network. That money will be provided to a number of local service providers. The Northwest LHIN feels the investments will help more seniors live independently at home and reduce home care wait times. MPP Bill Morrow believes focusing resources into the home provides better health outcomes.
One of the reasons is to relieve pressure in hospital because people don't want to be there if they don't have to be, and it is the most expensive place to provide care. So if you can do it appropriately with quality health outcomes in the community, it makes sense for a variety of reasons.
Some of the funding has helped the Norwest Community Health Centre improve and increase access to urgent care clinics. Kristen Shields says they can now offer weekend service that wasn't previously available.
There's a huge demand. I think people who either don't have a primary care provider or their clinic might not be open on the weekend. So we've so far had 132 people go through, and we've been open for just over a month.
The LHIN says this is not just a one-time allocation, but money that will be in addition to their current base funding.
Making sure those working in the mining sector go home to their families at the end of their shift is the goal of a new health and safety review. The Ministry of Labour announced today it will launch the comprehensive review early in the new year. Ontario Mines Minister Michael Gravel says ensuring the safety of Ontario's 27,000 mine workers is a top priority of his. He calls the announcement timely, given the technological advances and changes in the way that mining is conducted. Gravel believes industry and labour unions are supportive of the review.
And certainly as are the families that have been most impacted most recently by some very tragic incidents. So this is an important review. The truth is that while again the level of safety in mines is indeed very high, even one fatality, even one injury is one too many.
The province's chief prevention officer will lead the advisory group. More details on the review will be announced next month.
Thunder Bay Superior North MP Bruce Heyer says so far most people have been positive about his move to the Green Party. There has been some backlash, but Heyer doesn't believe much of that comes from his constituents. Heyer made the move from an independent MP to become a member of the Green Party last Friday. He said much of the federal government is too hyper-partisan. He wants to remain a member of parliament who votes his conscience and with the wishes of his constituents in mind. Heyer calls the Green Party the only one that allows him to do that and says since the move, he's received dozens of phone calls and hundreds of emails.
It's about 90% supportive or 80% supportive and maybe 15% questioning with questionings. Why did I do it? What are the implications? And about 5% hate mail. Actually, most of the citizens have been very supportive. The next hardest on me have been the media, and the hardest of all, of course, have been the NDP.
Heyer says he's not worrying yet about the 2015 federal election, but says he will be running and promises that he will continue to work for his constituents.
There has been a delay in the planned opening of the new Marriott Hotel here in Thunder Bay. The 5-story, 148-room hotel is being built in front of the Real Canadian Superstore. Officials with Marriott Town Place Suites say they originally expected to open in November, but after some delays with the building contractors, that opening was moved to just before Christmas. Now, hotel officials say the opening has been pushed back once again in order to ensure the high standards of the Marriott brand here in Thunder Bay. The new date is mid-January or possibly February. The hotel will be announcing tour dates soon for anyone who wants to get a look inside, and staff have already started taking bookings for visitors and for meeting rooms for early 2014.
A Thunder Bay banquet hall is facing charges following a suspected foodborne illness outbreak. The outbreak followed an event at the Moose Hall in Fort William Road on December 13th. The Thunder Bay District Health Unit says about 20% of the 270 people in attendance began displaying symptoms within a few hours of consuming food served at the hall. But the outbreak was short-lived as the symptoms only lasted about 24 hours. A charge has been laid to the hall's food production, and that has been suspended pending the outcome of their investigation.
A member of the Thunder Bay Police Service with an incredible success rate was honored today. Police service dog Thunder has retired. He's been on the job with his partner, Constable Joe Previtt, since August 2005. A typical success rate for a police dog is around 30%, but Thunder's was at about 70%. Previtt says it meant a lot to him to see so many people come out for the retirement of the dog. One notable case he remembers working with Thunder was a bank robbery in Oliver Papoonge.
To do a track for a suspect who had held it up by a shotgun. The dog was able to cut a track immediately. We found all the evidence, his clothing, masks, gun, and all the things that were used in the offense.
The evidence was turned over to investigators who located the suspect and put together a successful prosecution. Previtt calls Thunder the best partner he's ever had. He'll be keeping the dog, who will now spend his days resting on the couch. Previtt will begin training a new dog in April. Until that time, City Police have an agreement with the OPP for canine support.
9 long-term residents of the Thunder Bay and District Humane Society are going on a journey to Newmarket tomorrow. There is currently a shortage of dogs available for adoption at the Southern Ontario location, and Humane Society officials feel they will have a better chance of finding homes with the larger population. This is the first project of its kind here in Thunder Bay since the 7 animals came into their care. The transfer is part of the I Adopt for the Holidays campaign, a 2-month adoption drive that aims to save the lives of orphaned pets and to raise awareness of the importance of pet adoption during the holiday season. The dogs will leave tomorrow morning and arrive in Newmarket the following day.
Well, it's great, and we do have a waiting list, and there are people waiting to bring their dogs in, so it just speeds things up a little bit, but more importantly, we're excited and very, very hopeful that the dogs that we're sending will have homes before Christmas.
The Humane Society plans on following the journey of their furry friends and the families they will soon be a part of.
The Thunder Bay Christmas Cheer campaign has been declared a success once again this year. Today was the final day for Christmas Cheer hamper pickups, and as Cheryl Holmes reports, the effort will help to ensure a little brighter Christmas for hundreds of area families.
Like Santa's elves working a well-oiled machine, hundreds of volunteers had a busy day handing out Christmas cheer hampers. By early afternoon, at least 75% of the hampers had already been cleaned, and campaign officials were thrilled with how well things went.
More and more families have come. We've had a couple of thousand children who have been given their toys. More than that, but I know for sure that there was over 2,000 yesterday, so lots of children got their toys yesterday, which is a good sign.
What's not a good sign is that the campaign still has nearly $60,000 to go to reach their financial goal of $140,000.
We're just at about $80,000 mark, and we need $140,000 to pay for all the items that we purchase.
Those items include the food and turkeys bought by the campaign to hand out to families for a Christmas dinner. Any food that isn't handed out will be given to local charities and food banks. Volunteers call the entire experience very humbling.
Thankfully, I don't know what it's like to be on that side of the table, and hopefully I never will. But it is humbling. You go home with stories of large families to my children, and they can't quite believe it, because whenever they want something in the cupboard, it's there, and not everybody has that advantage.
Families who still have to pick up their cheer hampers have until 7 p.m. to do so. However, monetary donations are being accepted throughout the year. Cheryl Holmes, TBT News.
Well, Christmas is just around the corner, but for some lucky kids from the underground gym, Santa flew down a little early to get their spirits ready for the big day. Mike Albanese has the story.
The annual underground gym Christmas dinner and dance took place at the Slovak Legion. The event was sponsored by Wayne Vanderwees and had over 100 kids seeing Santa.
Huge. I mean, I didn't expect over 100 here, and it was overwhelming, but it turned out really, really well. Everybody's happy, they're well fed, they're having fun, and they got some nice gifts. What else can you ask for Christmas Day? It's awesome, eh?
One of the 100 kids was Braden Esquega. Although Braden knew this wasn't Christmas morning, he thought Santa and the volunteers did a pretty good job making it feel like it.
It was really fun, and it was like an illusion of Christmas, and it was really fun.
The big man himself spoke to us after he finished giving out all the gifts to the girls and boys.
It's fantastic. I mean, just to see the smiles on those kids' faces for 5 minutes, even for a minute, that they got to tell me that they were excited, waiting for Christmas. And regardless, I'm sure whatever comes upon them, they'll be excited. And it was just a thrill, just a thrill.
The kids wrote down 3 things they wanted for Christmas at the gym, and volunteers from Safeways went out and got them for Santa to give out, making everyone's early Christmas feel special.
I think it's fantastic. It's all about the kids. I mean, if you look at them just playing and the happiness, I mean, it's worth every effort that everyone puts forth. And you know, Peter does a fantastic job for all these little guys. And did you have fun? Yeah, it's just special to be a part of it. I mean, it's in this day and age that we, you know, have a Christmas that everybody can enjoy. So really, that was the whole goal for tonight.
Peter Panetta and everyone at the underground gym wishes everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe holiday. Mike Albanese, TBT News.